Hello, sacred souls. It's Susanna from Alamanic Shaman. What I have here for us tonight is kind of more a follow-up and continuation on yesterday's, because after claiming our power, I woke up today with an insanely tense left shoulder going all the way up the neck to where the head is. And the left side, at least according to Louise Hay, and I believe also there were others in the self-help industry and in New Age who believe the same. So the left side is usually for receiving and the right side is for giving out. So the energies that we give out versus what we receive, right? And since I was only tense on the left side, that means those were really tense energies that I was receiving. And it was basically tension, pain, and somewhat limited mobility. Like I could still move, but it was, when you have a stiff neck, it was similar to that, but like more the shoulder, but also going up into the neck. And so basically also like inflexibility. So that translated into energy in the 4D would be like real tension. Obviously like pain, like that someone is in a lot of pain. Someone is very tense, right? And still completely in limitation and not being flexible, so inflexible, right? So the somewhat limited mobility translates into limitation and inflexibility when it comes to energetic and emotional stuff. So those kind of energies were directed at me being clairsentient, right? So basically that's the kind of stuff that is directed at us from those unhealed ones that have been coming at us in our ascension process, but also like recently, right? And it was interesting because I had a really high maintenance customer today that I was dealing with, and I could sense her tense energies, right? And those were exactly the kind of narcissistic energies where they're just waiting for the slightest thing so that they could lash out at whoever gives them the slightest reason. And that reason is in their minds. It doesn't have to be a reason to any other person who's neutral and more healed, more stable, emotionally speaking, right? But in their minds, any tiny little thing can be reason to lash out, right? So that was the kind of energy that I was sensing. And the funny thing too is that usually when dark energies are directed at me, my left hand, because I drive, right? I still drive in my 3D job. Usually on those days when I have darkness directed at me, my left hand gets dark from the steering wheel, but my right hand doesn't. Well, I hope you can see this okay, but if you compare my two hands, it might be a little hard to see, but there is sort of a darker area here, and this is after washing my hands. Well, actually most of it came off, but I can still kind of see it here. It's still darker than on the other side, right? So my right hand is perfectly fine, whereas the left hand still has a little bit of that dark residue that only rubs off my steering wheel on days when I have dark energies directed at me, right? So again, as I mentioned in previous videos before, whatever goes on in 4D is usually reflected in 3D in my life, which sometimes turns it really crazy. I've had a car window suddenly stuck and I couldn't close it anymore and stuff like that. And all sorts of stuff that just manifests in the 3D physically. And one thing might just be like, oh, wow, that's weird, right? But it adds up so much. And I've noticed that for years and like constantly, that now that's a way for me to read what's going on, right? So it kind of helps me. And when you're able to kind of step back and not take it personal, it's like, oh, this is going on. Okay. So then my day ended with my phone suddenly dying on me. And usually, like when it's down to 20%, it gives me a warning. And it was plugged in all day. Sometimes it doesn't charge properly, so I usually check the light to make sure it's on. But usually I can, like, even if I don't always pay attention, I usually catch it around 50%. And then like throughout the day, it was like kind of on the lower side. It was around 50%, but then suddenly it turned completely black. It turned off. And that was at the exact moment when a dark sedan was right next to me before they turned. And the crazy thing is, right after that, my phone battery went back to 10%. And then it started charging. And like, it was like not even a minute. It was like, I think it was a few seconds. It may have been half a minute or so, but it was like really shortly after. There's no way it could have charged from 0 to 10% in that time. And then it took another few minutes to go up to 11%, right? So those are the kind of inexplicable things. Well, they can be explained when you're spiritual and you believe in other things, right? But for anyone who doesn't believe in any of this, it's just bizarre, right? So all of that put together, it's like there's still a lot of darkness coming at me being the medium, right? So coming at us, I'm going to generalize it for our collective here. So I felt very strongly that that was kind of what's still standing in our way, like in our ascension of really being in our power, and that's what's kind of blocking it. And at the same time, I also felt that it's very important that we stay strong, centered, and grounded, kind of like Zen or stoic, solid like a stone, which is why I put the stone here, right? So the stone representing not being swept away like by the waves of emotions and all this toxicity, like the toxic emotions and anger and all that kind of stuff that is going on all around us, but staying strong, centered and grounded within ourselves. So that is very, very important for us, especially when we're empaths, when we're clairsentient. We're so sensitive to energies that we need to remain true to ourselves in the midst of all this chaos, that energetic chaos, right? So that's what today's ceremony is really for, to help us stay really strong, centered, and grounded within ourselves, to stay unaffected by this crazy sea of emotions that is going on around us and is also directed at us. However, that also reflects stuff that we haven't quite healed yet. Otherwise, we wouldn't be affected by it, right? So in that whole process. And I put the Russian doll here again to represent how we are indestructible. Whatever happens, whenever we get knocked down, we get right back up again, right? So I really love these things. And again, I'm sorry, there was no unisex one in the price range I was willing to pay. So the female one will have to symbolize it for everyone. yeah, I think that's it. So for today, just helping us be super protected by those divine energies that we all have within us, as well as around us, being protected by all of our spirit guides, but also simply that we can stay strong, centered, and grounded within ourselves without being swayed, without being knocked off our balance and all of that. Okay, so let's smudge and get started. Oh, and I think I'm just going to actually light these here. I'm going to do it this way again. And the days are already getting longer again, right? We passed the winter solstice. It kind of came and went, and I was kind of just focused on these energies, and then I was like, oops, that went by. So I hope you all had a good one. And it's interesting how so many of these holidays in December have to do with light in one way or another, right? So I think whatever religion or spiritual direction you practice, there is usually some kind of recognition of that light aspect in December. Okay, so let's smudge. Please cleanse, clear, and renew all of our energies and take away anything dark, low vibrational, and heavy and unhealed. Any of those energies we would have traditionally considered evil, right? But as we are ascending, we're also recognizing that everything serves a purpose in this school called Earth. So what we call evil is really an experience so that we can then also know, appreciate, and experience the opposite, right? So let all those dark, heavy, and unhealed energies and emotions be cleansed, cleared, and healed, transmuted into pure divine love light energy. And help us reconnect fully and completely to our own divinity within us and all around us and be in oneness again. Thank you, Dankeschön, all my relations. And this is very smoky again, so I'm just going to cover this up. Okay, dear Creator, higher power, source and soul energy, our higher selves, our higher spirit guides of the light, our ancestors that are in the light, dear Mother Earth, powers of all four directions, powers of the east, powers of the south, powers of the west, powers of the north, powers of all four elements, air, earth, fire, and water, and all other benevolent powers, forces, spirits, and beings of the universe, please join the ceremony and assist the healings, prayers, and protection with all of your powers. Thank you. Please close the circle of protection around us. Thank you. Okay. First, let's start again by giving thanks for all the blessings in our lives, big and small, from the fact that we have a job and a roof over our head, to the blessings of having loved ones in our lives, to being able to buy not just what we need, but also items of either luxury or just something that, you know, brings us joy and happiness in a sense, even though it is a more external source, but let's say to get something that we just enjoy, right? Thank you for any and all help that we get from other people, for all the abundance that we get in some or all areas of our lives, or maybe just a few. In my case, for example, I'm very lucky that I often get some free food. Either I get some at work, or I find it at one of those community pantries. So that is a true blessing in my life, and I am so grateful and thankful for that. Thank you for any support that we get from people, for all the joys and things that make us happy. Let's say if we have any social circles, activities, hobbies, etc., that make us really happy, right? That we enjoy, that are fun. Thank you for the changing seasons. As much as summer is my favorite season, winter can be really beautiful as well. I do love the snow, especially when it's snowing. It's so peaceful, right? So please help us shift more and more back into a positive mindset and outlook on life, a very positive worldview, to help us get more and more in touch again with our inner child, with that purity and innocence, that pure joy of life that is not jaded, as many of us become after having had a lot of negative experiences in life. However, when we manage to step back and distance ourselves from the immediate experience, when we become unattached, when we take on that observer perspective, we can see how important those experiences were for our learning, for our growth. So we thank you for that. And I think that's all the thanks for now. Please help us very, very, very strongly to be as stoic and as zen and as centered and grounded within ourselves in the midst of this sea or storm of dark emotions going on all around us. Help us be the rock as well as the pillar of light represented by this candle here, and have so much love in our hearts represented by the heart bowl, that we can also help those around us who are struggling. The more healed we are, the more we can also help those that are really going through the ringer now and who are just at the beginning stages of their ascension process. So once again, help us be like a rock, help us be the pillar of light, and that representation of pure divine love. Let us be pure divinity, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness. Let us be in those divine energies to fully step into and be in our divinity, in our divine purpose, and our soul mission. Whoa. I was going to say, and so it is, but not yet. Hold on. I get it. Oops, yeah. And so it is. Thank you, Dankeschön, all my relations. Okay, so the swan feather for purity and the angelic energies and support, and the eagle feather to represent the divine. Now I will move them after just for fire safety, but for now I want them right on there, and they shall help us heal. They shall help us stay in those energies, be strong, be unharmed, and be the manifestation and representation of the divine. I was just looking for the striker of my sound bowl, but can't find it, so let's do this differently. I guarantee you the moment I finish, I will find it. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, perfect. Okay. And again, please forgive me. I never quite had the patience to learn it too well. So I'm going to do the beginner method. All right, that needs a little bit of work, but that's okay. I think the quality of these also really matters, and this is a bit of a low end since I'm a pure beginner with that, but I just felt like we needed a little bit of that sound in there. We are one with all of creation. We're fully in our power. We're strong, powerful, divine beings. And we are on our soul path. We are stepping up to fulfill our soul purpose. And for those who haven't found it yet, you will be guided and you will know when the time is right. But I'm sensing within a year, so since 2024 is almost finished, it would be by the end of 2025 or before. If anyone's watching this at some point in the future, then roughly a year from when you watch it would be the maximum amount of time by which you will be shown what your soul purpose is, what your soul mission is, what you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime. This doesn't mean that you already start doing it. It may or may not, but so that you can then start working towards that, right? Without getting stressed or freaking out, but just taking the first steps towards that. All right. If anyone would like to stay in these energies a bit longer, please pause the video. For the rest of us, let this ceremony now be finished. Please open the circle of protection around us, but keep us strongly safe, shielded, and protected, and accept our love, thanks, gratitude, and blessings. Thank you, Dankeschön, all my relations. All our relations. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching, for being a part of the ceremony, for being on your own healing and ascension journey. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. And I'm also sending you tons of love, light, and blessings. Be well until next time, and I wish you great abundance, and may the truth be with you. Okay, bye.